I want to build something generational. I don't know how successful I'm going to be at like getting to 100 million or like even more in ARR in like the next 2 years or 3 years. But I think it is very possible. Like I'm already past like the hardest part.
This is Yasser. He grew ChatBase from 0 to 1 million ARR in 117 days. And today he just hit 8 million ARR and he did it 100% bootstrap. So I invited him today to understand how he did it.
If you want to maximize your chances of winning, you have to put in the work that others are not going to put.
In this video, you will discover how to build a product that sells itself, a shortcut to get hundreds of customers by convincing only one person, and how to write Virality to get predictable revenue.
I would have one post on LinkedIn go viral, and then you would see like Stripe go up by 5,000 MRR.
Let's dive. So Yasser, what was the hardest for you? Reaching $1 online, 100K, 1 million, or your current goal to reach 10 million ARR?
That's a good question. I think 1 million was the hardest. I think getting to $1, I think it is like a very significant milestone because like most people will never, even if they want to or try to pursue that goal, it's just hard to build something from scratch and have one person pay for it. Um, but I think you can build something like you can, force your way into making it work. So I think the $1 thing is achievable if um, you just build something and talk about it, and that's it. And it should be very doable. But I think 100K means it's not just by luck. Like this is actually a product people at least want to try, and like it seems like there is something working there. So I think it goes from just like you're trying out stuff to a product, which I think, is the hardest step.
The 100K was the hardest. And
Yeah,
before that, you actually built Rate My Course, and you also
yeah,
worked for different huge companies like Tesla or Meta. What did you learn from these experiences that help you build ChatBase?
yeah. I think I learned a lot more from building Rate My Courses and other side projects than what I learned at those internships in the big companies. Like I think what I learned at those internships is how to be good, at the job, and like how to, get promoted or make your manager happy. Um, but I think the skills that you gain by starting something from scratch and figuring out how to market it, how to get people to just open the site, how to get people through the funnel, I think all of that applies if it's like a very small project like what Rate My Courses was, or what Chatbase is now, or even what Chatbase like 10x of Chatbase will be. Um, I think it's the same concepts when I talk to founders of smaller companies, bigger companies. Of course, it's like different problems at different scales, um, but what you learn from building something from scratch and trying to make it work, I think that's the most valuable thing. If that's what you want to do, I think specificity is important. So if you want to be good at building startups, you should try to build a startup.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. And you built Rate My Course. Was that your first like real project actually, or did you start before any other side project?
Yeah, I don't know what I would consider real, but before I had other projects, like some of them were just making, tools for myself or for some friends. Like someone had a Shopify store I helped them with, or yeah, other examples like that. But the first product that I built with the intention that it can actually make me money online, um, and a product that people would use and buy. I think yeah, Rate My Courses was the first one, and I would say it was a success. Even now, it gets 50,000 monthly visitors without any input from my end, and I think that specific project helped me understand how to build something that is ready for production.
I like to ask this question because usually, we just zoom on your big success, which is ChatBase, but there's always a big gap between starting the first project and actually getting out succeed actually online. So how long was it like just to have approximately a timeline between ChatBase, between Rate My Course when you started to build it to your first viral post on X with
Yeah.
ChatBase?
Yeah, I think maybe a year and a half. I think my first commit on Rate My Courses, like Rate My Courses, I was building on the side. I was at university, I was doing the internships, so it was always a side project. I wasn't too focused on it. So it took like a lot of time to build. So I think it was a year and a half from the idea, like I think buying the domain. And then that journey was yeah, 18 months. And then I saw I built other stuff too while I was building Rate My Courses because I had other ideas. And then um, a year and a half of like tinkering with other side projects, I had the idea for ChatBase.
And then you are sitting in front of your laptop writing this post with 16 followers on X. What did you expect when you actually press post? Did you expect it to be viral? Did you work enough on the post to get it viral? Like, what were your expectations?
So I think it's crazy, but I think I did expect it to get some traction, which I don't know why I thought that. I think it's delusional to think that because it's like, a random account with 16 followers. So it doesn't make sense that talking about a raw product, like a random side project, would work. Um, but I think it's because I saw what was happening in um, on my timeline about how many people were interested in this stuff. And to me, it was just like a very obvious idea that this makes sense. And the way I structured the demo and the way I, talked about it made sense to me. So for some reason, I wasn't too surprised when I saw, people like actually commenting, people opening the site, people trying it, even from the first post. It was like more like validation. Like I thought something will happen and it ended up happening more than like this is unexpected.
Where did you get that from? Just the belief in yourself that, okay, I will hit post and it will actually work.
Yeah, I think that is something that is very important for anyone who wants to succeed. I think in anything, you have to first believe that you can actually do it before you end up doing it. Like because otherwise you're just like you're not gonna like, have like luck throw you into success. You actually have to believe that you can do it so you can end up doing the things that get you there. Um, but I don't know how you get it, honestly. I think part of it is validation from other things that happen in your life. So I think the way you build confidence is by showing yourself proof that you can do things. And like it's not for other people, it's just to yourself. It's just smaller stuff that keep compounding. Like you say, "Hey, I want to do this," and then you end up doing it. So you just know you're the kind of person that um, can get stuff done. So I think enough of that, and over time, it compounds, and then you end up with uh, much stronger self-belief, and then it's just like a positive feedback loop. So you do something, it works, and then you have stronger belief, so you're able to do like something bigger, so it works. So it's a positive feedback loop that you're in. Um, and I think this continues to grow what with your success and like with other things in your life that you're trying to get done that you end up doing.
I love that. I really love that. After this post, actually, you got viral. I don't remember the exact number of impression, but it was pretty huge. You got a lot of users. Long story short, you get to 60 3,000 MRR, I think, in about few months. How did you actually stay locked in at this period and manage virality while you had all this product to build, all this feedback to have or to deal with, all this bug on your platform? Like, how did you manage all of that and kept stay locked in?
Yeah, I think this was maybe the most difficult part of building ChatBase, the first 6 or 7 months, um, because I knew I had something here. I knew the opportunity in front of me, and I knew this is something special. So there was so much pressure that this is rare. Like you have to um, jump on this opportunity and like make sure that you take full advantage. And that's a lot of pressure, right? And other than the pressure, there is a lot of work to do. There is, like the customers, calling you because there is an issue, maybe because it was very early version of the platform. There is investors talking to you because you're building in public. There is competitors like building clones because you're also building in public. Um, and then you want to hire people, so you're just wasting a lot of time interviewing, and it's your first time hiring someone. Um, so I think like I don't know the answer to like how I got through it. I think the real answer is just you just try to get as much done as possible within a day and like survive to the next day to like do the same thing and like just put out the fires that keep showing up every day, um, until you build some sort of like a structure or like a team where you can actually like take a breath, so that ended up happening maybe like 6 months after the first like our first cohort of customers.
And during these first 6 months, did you think about getting 8 hours of sleep, eating vegetable, and eating the gym every day? Or your first and unique goal was focus on the business?
Yeah, I know it was like I did not have any sort of balance in that 6 months. Even now, honestly, um, I think I just knew that this is such a rare opportunity that I think it's fine to like people want to live their lives in different ways. But for me back then, I just decided that it is a rare opportunity. I might not get something I have conviction on as much as this, and like the market also has conviction on, then I just need to take that opportunity. And I think, like I'll catch up on sleep and I'll go to the gym once I have like some sort of structure. And that's what I ended up doing. So, and I think that's the right thing to do. I think you shouldn't like not shouldn't like I think it depends on the person, but if you want to maximize your chances of winning, I think you have to put in the work that others are not going to put, so and that's how you differentiate yourself.
Yeah, I asked this question because right now I'm kind of in the same period, and I'm someone who is pretty much structured. I have a routine and everything, but right now there is no routine. I think
Yeah.
the number one focus is this. I'm building and that's it. And I think that's what you did and you succeeded as well. In 117 days, you hit 1 million ARR with Chatbase. Didn't you think at that time, like, okay, that's enough. I will just sell it. I made it. I will move on and just retire.
Yeah, I think like of course stuff like that you think about. You can't not think about because even like other people are asking you the same question. Um, but I'm happy I didn't. I never considered it very seriously, and the reason is I think I had I think it comes from the same place of conviction and actually believing that um, like you see the opportunity, you see the steps clearly that you need to do in order to grow this, um, which I think is like a good position to be in. I think when you have something, if it's working or if it's not working, that's irrelevant. But if you know the steps, like you can see them clearly, what you need to do, what you need to execute on in order to make it work, that's such a good position to be in. Because, like, of course, it's going to be difficult, but at least you know what to do. I think a much worse position, which a lot of startups and people trying to build find themselves in, is it's just unclear what to do. Like there's so many different directions to go in, and you can spend all your time and effort into one thing, but it ends up not being the right thing to pursue. Um, which I think that's how you burn out. That's how you feel like you're putting effort and you're not getting the results, or you're putting effort and you're not sure if you're gonna get the results. But I think for Chatbase back then, like it was clear, like, hey, if I continue to do the content, if I continue to optimize the funnel, if I continue to do outbound sales, if I continue to talk to customers, I'll improve the product, people will stay, and I'll get more customers. It was just clear what I need to do. So, and I knew that I'm able to do it. I had the self-belief that I can execute on what I needed to do. So it just didn't make sense for me to, stop something that I knew was gonna be bigger.
How did you get this clear path for Chatbase? Because again, you are like, you get viral really fast, you hit 1 million AR really fast, you are all the things that you have to deal with. How at 1 million AR do you keep like this clear mind and this clear path to know exactly what to do?
Yeah. So I think how you find out what to do, or how you have a clear vision of what you need to do, is you need to find the balance between doubling down on what's working and experimenting with new things, because you don't want to like keep experimenting and like everything you try to do has a low chance of success, that it's just like mathematically not gonna work. But also you don't want to only do one thing until like it stops working, and not just rely on just one thing, which may or may not stop working tomorrow. So I think I had a healthy balance between knowing stuff that is already working and then doubling down on those things, but also a few ideas that to me it made sense that they're gonna work, and like logically, it made sense that they will work. So it just made sense to pursue them, maybe on a smaller scale just to test. So I think that framework helped a lot with knowing what I need to focus my time on.
Did you get any help from anyone, any mentor, or were you just alone at that time dealing with everything?
No, I was talking to a lot of people. I have three older brothers, so I was talking to them through the whole process. And then, of course, everyone that has built something on Twitter, or like people that I know. Um, I think it's like a very good community, and I think I think founders in general are very helpful, because they, like it's not like a very common job, like outside of San Francisco. It's not very common. So I think there is some sort of like a close community, and like people understand the struggles and like the work-life balance and just like the lifestyle. So I think there is a lot of camaraderie, like people want to help each other. So I think, yeah, I just reached out to people, asked some questions, and I think that's how I got to know Peter Levels. It's just like I messaged him on X asking a few questions. So yeah, like I think it's hard to do this alone as like a solo founder. So I think getting the all the help that you can get is a good idea.
Can you think about one advice or maybe more that you got from maybe Peter Levels or another founder at that time that helped you, I don't know, with anything with your business?
Yeah, so there's some advice that is more, tactical, like how to run ads or something, or how to do SEO. So there was a lot of those, because my like, maybe 95% of my time was around like optimizing the product and improving it and getting it shown to more people and like getting more customers to use it. So there was a lot of that advice. So I think that's very important. But then there's also a lot of like high level advice on, like what's your goal? Why are you building this? Where do you want to end up? How do you hire people? I think, yeah, like this also was very helpful talking to all those founders.
What was your goal then?
I think my goal then and still now is I just see a lot of potential in what I'm building, and I think I just want to see it through. I want to see, um, like, I don't want to stop midway, I want to see how much this can grow because I feel like yeah, like a big goal to me in my life, and I think to a lot of other people is um, getting to your potential, achieve like maximizing the chances that you achieve your potential. So that's what I'm trying to do now, and that's what I was trying to do back then.
So I want to talk about distribution after, but first I want to talk about product because you push to excellence. You want a perfect product. I think your product is. When I just go on the landing page, it's like so fluid, so beautiful, and I think that's what you wanted with it. What is your definition of an excellent product?
Yeah. I think it's very hard to define. I think also there is a balance between building a product that is something that you can be proud of, that like you want to show to people that um, customers have like just a good experience using, and like they say, thank God I found this. But also you don't want to like spend like 3 years building inside like in your room because you're just like trying to achieve perfection when it's not possible. So I think finding that balance, and I think you can be like the spectrum between, shipping as fast as you can and like perfecting every pixel and then shipping slowly and like more intentional. That's a spectrum. But I think I can give you examples of companies, like in each point of that spectrum along the line, and like all of them are successful. So I don't think there is a specific, like point in the spec, like a specific balance point that is the secret. But I just think it's about like the product philosophy. It's about the customers. It's about what the product does, and like it's just different for every product. Where in this balance are you? So I think for us, like trust is very important because it's such a competitive space. So, but also the space moves fast. So you want to build trust. You want to make sure that you give your customers a product that works and that makes sense for them, that is intuitive and um, just like doesn't go down, for example, or doesn't like has high SLAs, enterprise ready, has guardrails, because they're also using it in a very important part of their business, which is their customer experience. So it's not like a hidden, like internal tool. It's a big part of their business that they're entrusting you with. Um, so I was leaning more towards the just like building a stable, beautiful product that I am proud of, even if it comes at the cost of not moving as fast as possible.
And I think it's really important for you because your main distribution technique was product-led growth. So product is the base of it. Can you explain more what is PLG or product-led growth?
Yeah. So our growth strategy with ChatBase is not sales led. It's so we're not like doing we don't have like a bunch of AEs or SDRs that cold call companies or cold email people to get them to start using ChatBase. The way PLG works is you have a funnel of, so this can be your top of funnel can be anything. It can be content on social media, it can be ads, it can be even emails. But um, product-led means your customer is using the product on their own. They're figuring things out on their own. And then the product is built in a way that is intuitive enough and simple enough for them to get started, but it's also powerful enough for them to be able to do everything they want to do.
Mm.
That's just such like a hard thing to do because like, you know, if you're like a sales-led organization, you just have people to handhold your customer and like build stuff for them exactly like they want it, which I think is very valuable when you're moving up market, and that's what we're doing now. But when we started, we were just like I didn't have a lot of like salespeople, you know. So the main focus was to have the product sell itself, and that's by building a good onboarding flow, making the product intuitive and simple to use, and putting like growth feedback loops within the product so it just grows on its own. And I think I think it's an advantage to start that way, and then you move to the mid market and enterprise because because of the fact that you started as a PLG company, you optimized the experience of the product because you had to, because there was no one to like handhold customers into how to use it. So you had to like have a very good intuitive experience. But that also helps when you're closing like bigger enterprise customers. And that's what companies like Stripe, for example, is doing, or Vercel, where they have a very strong self-serve flow, but they're also able to serve some of the world's largest organizations. Um, and it's because all of the learning that you get from building a self-serve PLG first product helps a lot with when you move up market. So that's what we're building here at ChatBase.
And how did you build that? Did you talk a lot to your customer for a while, just understand like on the onboarding if they understood everything? Did you use any tool to analyze that? Like, what did you do?
So I think a part of it is science, which is talking to customers, taking notes, watching them use the product. I think that's like very helpful. Like just get on a call, tell someone to share their screen and just see how they use the product. And then like even now, I'll see like 10 different things that maybe to them it's just like a small like half a second thing that they didn't get, but it's to me, I immediately see like how this can be improved. So yeah, a part of it is just talking to customers, seeing how they use the product, analyzing their behavior, analyzing their behavior with tools like like Post-Hog or Amplitude or any like product analytics tool, and like session recordings and stuff like that. But also a part of it is just you sitting down and like thinking from first principles, like who is the customer, what do they need to achieve, what different types of customers do we need to support, and then just like thinking on your own and like coming up with ideas on how a good user experience should look like. And I think that step is honestly like the most important, and I think it's often it's missed a lot because like you can stay in the data all day, but you need like a good starting point, and that good starting point only comes when you put the effort into thinking from first principles, what the customers want, what you want, what the goal is of the software, and then start building from there.
So now you have this perfect product, excellent product that sells itself. I know you used a lot of different growth strategy and I want to deep dive into them. First one was to launch new features to actually touch new audiences. You did that a lot and you still do it. I think in February you did this video with Shopify
Yeah.
and that went viral. So you keep the same strategy. Can you explain how you do that and why?
Yeah, I think for a product like Chatbase, I think a big advantage is how big the TAM is. And I think for tools like us, it just makes sense to try to get as much TAM as possible because for a product like Chatbase, the LLMs which power Chatbase are customizable enough where they apply to a bunch of different industries, a bunch of different like company sizes. So it applies to, a lot of like companies and a lot of not even companies like governments or institutions. So there's just a wide range of companies using us. Um, and I think a good strategy is instead of just like having like a general vague marketing, just saying like we're building AI agent for customer support. I think that's good to start, but I think the way to continue growing is finding like smaller verticals and then trying to own them or at least to grow in them and have like good market share in them. But the secret is like you're not focused on one, you're focused on many. So it's like this mini, like go-to-market team within the company that is focused on, let's say, SaaS companies, and then another like pod that is focused on hotels and like the hospitality industry, another pod that is focused on e-commerce and retail. Um, and I think that helps with the same idea I was talking about before, which is doubling down on what works. So you'll find an industry that works, so you double down on that industry, but also keep experimenting with other new things, and then do the same thing with when something works, double down again, and that's been working. So I think the Shopify thing was just like an obvious next step for us because the product works for the use case. Um, and we already have like this much traction outside of Shopify. So we just wanted to like just make it more accessible to like a new type of customer.
Shopify was kind of the door for you for e-commerce, right?
Yeah,
And how big is like the impact of this kind of partnership for ChatBase?
I think it's still not clear like what was the ROI because we're still like getting more and more customers, but it seems to be working so far. Um, it was surprising because we didn't do much to like focus on the launch, but because I think the product has a lot of features that uh, people that use Shopify want, I think we started to have like some word of mouth loop a little bit within like the Shopify community, so it started to like grow also from that. So I think, yeah, like what worked for us is you need something big to just like get your foot in the door in like that new vertical. And then if the product is good enough, then the PLG system will work and then you'll grow that way too.
I like that because you kind of take a shortcut instead of going door to door to thousands or millions of e-commerce. You just take the big door, which is Shopify, partner with them, and then you will touch eventually all the e-commerce. Is
Yeah,
that a
exactly.
strategy that you used a lot for like other different fields? Because you were talking before that you have a GTM team focused on different other fields. Do you do that often?
So I think like the perfect scenario is something like Shopify. Um, but yeah, like we did that for example with Vercel. So we have like the Vercel integration, and you can just go by ChatBase from within Vercel's dashboard. And I think that's also very useful to get access to all the customers of Vercel. And like the way this works is we just work with Vercel directly, and then once you have that, then you have access to all of their customers, and it's good for them and it's good for us. Um, so I think these kinds of channel partnerships in like marketplaces, but also it doesn't have to be marketplaces. It can just be like a partnership with a specific company in a specific industry um, that basically like is a like the word can be a reseller, um, but basically like they just push you to their customers, so they increase their LTV of their customers, and then you get access to like a new type of customers by just convincing one entity. Like you're doing sales to one person, and then you get access to 1,000.
Talking about that, like in a different way, did you do any big influencer marketing campaign or sponsorship that actually worked for ChatBase?
Yeah, but this stopped working a long time ago, I think. Um, I like in the beginning, yeah, like in 2023 and like early 2024, um, everyone was an AI influencer because that's like the hot thing to talk about. And I think even now a little bit, but back then because there wasn't as many AI startups as there is now, and like also the idea of AI was very new, so like people were excited to like hear about it and like look at the new tools and all of that. So influencer marketing was crazy. Like I would have one post on LinkedIn go viral, like get 5,000 likes, just like a demo, like a small screen recording of the product. And then you would see like Stripe go up by 5,000 MRR because like, and it's like there's nothing else that can explain it other than that one LinkedIn post. Um, so we did a lot of that back then, but now like it still works, but I think it's much harder. Like you have to put in more effort into the content to make it stand out and to just like have good content for people to find interesting, but also have it convert. Um, but yeah, like you have to put in effort with working with influencers. It can't just be like, hey, can you talk about us? And that's it.
I could talk all day long about distribution with you, but maybe I will ask you the questions which will go faster. Except the one we already talked about. What are the ones that just work the best for ChatBase and you would recommend to a B2B SaaS, for example?
Yeah, I think content was good for us. Like just LinkedIn and X, especially early on. Now it's not the same, but I think it was a very big boost early on. But I think that helps build credibility so that other channels start to work. So I think organic is such a good channel because it already works on its own, but it indirectly helps other channels. So when you do cold emails, maybe it's not really cold because they've seen your content before. Or when you do paid ads, it's the same because they've seen your brand before. They're more likely to click on the paid ad. So it just like improves other channels and like SEO because people visit your website more, people stay on it longer, they like start to use it more. It just builds up your domain authority, and whenever you post something and like people start linking to it too, so SEO starts to work. So I think especially early on in a startup's life, you need that boost. But then the thing is, you can't rely on it. So you have to rely on other channels that are more like grow linearly and are more like you can rely on them more, which I think is like more things like SEO, things like word of mouth, things like paid ads or like cold outbound. Um, but the way you get them to work well is by doing the hard work of organic content.
So first, virality, then you search stability with SEO, branding, and pay ads, kind of.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to approach it.
Every successful founder I know have one thing in common. They nailed distribution. They show up on Google, Reddit, or social media. And when you ask ChatGPT what's the best tool for X, they are also showing up. But most founders, they spend all day building features, fixing bugs, or talking to customers. And sometimes they ship more features. But at the end of the day, the competitor with the worst product get all the customers. That's frustrating, because we all know that your product deserves the spotlight more than them. And I know you probably don't have the time to write 30 blog posts a month, post on social media, or reply on Reddit threads. You have to build a good product after all. So nothing gets done, and this competitor is still the one getting all the customers. That's why we built Distrib. You just have to create an account, add your website, and we take care of the distribution for you. Content, backlinks, Reddit, social media, we push your product everywhere. And you can finally focus on building the best product while we get you customers on autopilot. You can click on the link in the description to get your free trial. And the next 20 founders who join will get 90% off on the first month. Now, back to the episode. You've been building a lot your brand actually with high quality video. Uh, I see a lot of people on X talking about how hard it is to do video. You are Yasser, a developer who built a little startup that went viral and now you're doing video. What is the point for you to do this high quality video? And was it hard to get into that?
Yeah, I think it's not easy, and I think it's honestly like not for every company. Um, but I think it makes sense. I think, as I said, like organic, like video is important because it builds like people get to know you more than just reading text. Um, and I think, as I said, like organic is important because it helps other channels to work. So I think it's kind of a longer term investment. Building the brand, building um, the community around ChatBase, and then once that engine works, then like the other engines will be more efficient. But of course, it was hard to get into video because like I have never done video before, so I had to, like work with agencies that were good, agencies that were bad, and then like trying to hire someone in house, and then someone like it's I think it's a lot of investment and a lot of time to get right, but I think it's very worth it once you get right. And I think like even yeah, we're still trying to figure this out too.
That's a good transition because now I want to talk about more the managing part and, having a startup. You work with agencies, you hire people. What is your decision making like today? Like, are you still the guy who do like all the decision? Do you give a lot of that decision to some other people? Do you give a lot of the work to agencies? Like, how do you manage all of that?
Yeah, now I like I, on it, like just recently I was able to give the decisions to other people, like trust other people with some big decisions. Um, but I think even now, I think good founders will always be in the details. They will, like understand all the features. They will be the most um, competent person in their product. They will be the expert on the product, but also the expert on the customers. I think you have to. Otherwise, you shouldn't be the person leading the company. So you need to be in the details, but you also need someone that you can trust um, with just like something that needs to be fixed because you can't like do everything on your own either. But you can just have a few people that you can trust to get things done and like to own some initiatives. And I think that's just extremely helpful. And that's like the only way you can grow past a certain point is if you have that, like 3 or 4 people that you can like fully trust because they're even better than you in the things you're doing. Um, so I think it is inevitable for companies to get there, and I think it's a good thing. Um, and in terms of working with agencies, I have worked with a lot of agencies since I started. Like honestly, some of them were good. Most were not good. But yeah, but I think because I was giving them like stuff that is very critical to Chatbase, which I think was wrong. I think like if something is very critical to the growth, I think you should just do it internally, even if you don't know how to. I think you just like jump into the deep end and try to figure things out. I would say is the best way um, because you're like at the end of the day, I think you and your team will care more than an agency, even if they have more experience in that particular thing. But I think caring is more important than the experience. So, and like I think learning, if you have like a good team that is able to learn quickly, um, you can just trust them that they'll do like the right job. So that's what we've been doing recently. I would only work with agencies for more of a like experimental thing or like a side thing, not like a main initiative we want to focus on.
So for a solopreneur who is watching this podcast now and didn't hire anyone yet, like, do you have any advice on where to start and, how to get started with hiring people?
Yeah, I think whenever you hire someone that doesn't like 100% want the job, I think that was a bad hire. So I think the first thing is you need someone that actually wants the job and is convincing enough that they will do a good job when they do join. And they're not, I think, especially like if you're just starting out, you want to have the skill to be able to find people that are not discovered yet, um, which is a hard thing to do, and it's a hard thing to do well. But you want to find people who in like a few years they will be like the best in what they do, and but you just discovered them early, and you just have the skill and like also the company that they would want to work for. Um, and you as a person, you have the skills that they see valuable for someone they want to work for. So so one, you want to like be that person first. You want to be the person the people you want to hire would want to work for. That's step one. And step two is have the skill to be able to find those people, which yeah, I think is very hard.
Well, I would like to work with you, so that's a good point.
Yeah.
um, I think we should talk about something that is not sexy at all, but a lot of founder needs: churn. That's something that was one of your big goal and focus at the beginning. You reduced from, I think, 27% to 8.8. Your next goal is 3%. What did you learn so far to, like, the key lesson to actually reduce churn?
Yeah, it is unsexy because the answer is it's just improving the product. I think that's like I would say maybe 60 or 70% of what reducing churn means. Um, but I think, yeah, just having like a good product that people actually get value from, they will not cancel. That's like the number one advice. And then like outside of that, there's of course a lot of things that you learn. Uh, a lot of it is like handling like credit cards correctly and making sure you have like good revenue recovery and like sending out the emails and like stuff like that. That's a small part of it, and the other small part of it is like the cancellation flow and like optimizations there. But this is also like I would say insignificant. I think there's just like no way around having a good product. That's like I would say the biggest thing. So but that's a good thing because now you're not like focused on too many things. Your job is just to have like a good product that people don't want to cancel. So it is technically like an easier job, but it's just also hard to do. So I would say like, especially in the beginning, I would only focus on that, just improving the product. Um, and then once you think you have a good product, once you have like actually like normal churn or like below average churn, then you can look at optimizing some of like the last 20%, which is like cancellation flows and like revenue recovery and all of that.
And then the last step is to do like Adobe that makes people
Yeah,
pay to cancel,
uh,
right?
yeah, that's the final step. The cancellation fee is the last one.
What is the vision for ChatBase? Because you talk about that, you have this clear path. Like, what is the vision?
So I think the vision is I want to build something generational. I think, as I said, I still think the same. I have this rare opportunity to build something huge, and I want to make sure that I try to achieve that potential and um, at least at least try. Like I don't know how successful I'm gonna be at like you know getting to 100 million or like even more in ARR in like the next 2 years or 3 years. Um, but I think it is like very possible. I think I'm already past like the hardest part, which is going from zero to now. So I think it is very possible, like it is, I would say that likely to happen, as long as I have the execution. So the vision is just to like see this through, like see the potential through.
And what is the future of AI agents? Because you are into that, like you just set a product based on that. What do you see in the near future for SaaS and AI agent and agent to agent, all these kind of things?
Honestly, like I don't know. I don't think anyone knows. I think people can like try to sound intellectual and like try to, like come up with analogies from like other technology shifts and stuff like that. But I think this one is different. And I think even the AI labs and like the people building the technology, they don't know like how it's gonna affect uh society, and like especially the closest thing to be affected is like software and like AI tools and all of that. Um, but I think like the opportunity is crazy. I think it is, to me, it is obvious that this is like past the point. Is AI gonna work? Is AI not? Is it a bubble? Is it not? I think like it is a technology that works. It is very, very clear to me and like to the smartest people in the industry that this is a technology that works and like people are getting value from, especially for verticals like coding, verticals like customer support, verticals like customer facing AI agents, which is like the broader vision, verticals like legal, like healthcare. It is working. Um, so I think like that point is we're past. Um, but I think the question now becomes like, what does that mean for builders? What does that mean for, like society? What does that mean for people getting jobs? It's just hard to know. Um, but yeah, I think like I'm building ChatBase, and um, I'm betting that being part of that wave is the best use of anyone's time. Um, I think like doing honestly like anything that is not in like building and like working with AI and talking about AI and like not being part of that wave, I think is just a wasted opportunity. Like it's just a waste of time. Like it's obvious that this is the next thing, and we're already like 3 years in, but I still think we're still early. Um, so I think I would say like why I'm spending a lot of my time here, and why I think it makes sense for other people to do that too.
Now there is some personal things that you shared, and I think I want to hear about that from you. Why should I embrace boredom as a founder?
Yeah, that's a good question. Um, so I think as founders, you are always busy because there's always things happening. There's always fires you need to put out. There's always, customers. There's always like things to try, ways to grow, all of that. And I think you lose. Like I think if you're always like in the detail, always like racing from one meeting to the next, always racing from one idea to the next, you just don't have the clarity of like stepping back and like thinking about, bigger things. And I just think that clarity is very important for a founder. I think like honestly, it is the job to have the clarity on what you're trying to build, what you want the your team to build, what's like the North Star, what's like what ideas do we need to start uh, at least exploring. Like are you just copying like what everyone else in the industry is doing, or are you thinking from first principles on like what needs to be built? Are you getting inspired from other industries by what they're building, and like how you can use that uh, in your advantage to what you're building? So I think, and you can't like put that in your calendar. You can't like schedule like a 2 hour uh, like session to, like just like come up with ideas like this. Like you can, but I think the most effective way is to like go for a walk, and like because you are the founder and because you are, like working on this all day, and because you are passionate about this, and because you've been thinking about this for like the last, like 24/7 for the last like 3 months, when you go for a walk, your mind will wander in that direction. And I think, um, yeah, I think you'll be amazed by how much new ideas that you can come up with if you just like give your time the space to think. Um, and I think that's the job of the founder is to have those new perspectives and like those new ideas, and it's not the job of anyone else. I think mostly the team will be on the operations and execution side. Um, but the founder should embrace boredom to have their minds wander. And when your mind wanders, then you will have a lot more good ideas than when you're just like going from one meeting to the next and like putting out one fire after the other.
I love it. I think it's a really, really good advice, and a lot of founders should listen to you. There is a video, a reel that Royly posted a few days ago on Instagram, and I think it was really funny and joined something that you also push is you should not listen to everyone, and mainly not people you don't want to look like. For example, in this video is like pretty straightforward, but he say, I don't want to listen to this big founder that made a lot of money, but is really fat and unhealthy, because I don't want to end up a billionaire really fat and unhealthy. I want to be myself.
Yeah.
And you push a lot to follow your gut. Do you think it's something that everyone should do, or should you listen to people around? What is your position on that?
That's also a good question, because should everyone do it or not is a hard question to answer, because like I think you need to be smart to be able to come to conclusions based on things and just not follow like other people's advice. Um, but I think the answer is yes. I think everyone should do it, because if you are smart enough, then you'll be able to figure things out on your own. I think you should just still take input from other people, but like you should know that every situation is different. Their goals are different. Their like the time was different. Their company was different. Everything is just different context. I think you should have that skill to like filter out or like take the advice, listen to it, but just don't blindly implement it. But you have to be smart to be able to do that. But I think if you're not smart, then like even if you do follow people's advice, then it's still a problem, because it's not gonna apply to you 100%. So you might as well just like try to think and like hope that you are smart enough to figure things out. Um, yeah. So if you're not smart, you're not like it's just hard to figure out anyway. And if you're smart, you should take the advice, like just consume it, but make sure to not just listen to it and implement it blindly, because even if it sounds close to you, even if it's a lot of the variables are similar, like one small variable that is different can end up like changing the whole trajectory. And I think as you have the most context, you have all the knowledge that is needed more than anyone else that is not in your shoes. So you are the best person positioned to make decisions. And that's how you um, I think that's how you should make decisions.
This podcast is more for people who already have a product, want to scale, and want to listen to big guys like you already made it. But if there is someone who is sneaking here and want to start a SaaS, do you have like anything that you will just like go all in right now if you didn't have ChatBase? Let's say, an opportunity with OpenCloud, an opportunity with Cloud Code. Do you see anything that could be really as big as ChatBase was?
Yeah, I honestly think like yeah, OpenClaw, for example, is a good, like I think you can build a startup around that 100%, and people will do. I think it's more about execution. I think if, like in AI, if you're just like in it, you'll just find something to do. Like even if you just copy like something that exists now, even if it's been done like for by many people, even for ChatBase, I think there is some angle to it that you can still find a way to make it work. So I think the advice is just to like not listen to what I like. I'm not gonna give you an idea that is like the winning idea. I think the advice is just like build something, even if you don't think it's a good idea, but just start. And I think by being in the space, by trying new things, the real idea will come. It's just gonna present itself because you also have enough context and like enough understanding of the space that a new good idea will show up. But I think the way to find that idea is to just start to build something. Um, that's how I got the idea for Chatbase, and I think that's how like most founders end up with good product. Like successful founders end up with their companies. It's never the first version. It's always like they start with some version of something that has a chance to work, but over time they become experts and like the market pulls them towards a specific direction. So I don't think you should start with an idea that you think is the winning idea. You should start with something and then the winning idea will pull you. Um, yeah.
Amazing way to end up this podcast. Thank you very much, Yasser, for your time. And I will see you soon in the podcast.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you for having me.